Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Report. And it's Friday night. We're going to do a little live stream here tonight, so that way we can talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys. And looks like, oh, damn, looks like Joe Boo needs a refill. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Damn, it's like Joe Boo's going to need another bottle. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm feeling fine, wonderful, and happy that it is finally the weekend and the Dallas Cowboys are about ready to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And does anybody need a game more than the Dallas Cowboys after the week we've had between Jerry Jones running his mouth too much and all the talking heads basically taking it a whole nother level? It's kind of crazy because I talked about this in some of my videos this past week about Jerry Jones. Everybody wants the gotcha moment as far as the Dallas Cowboys go. I'm sorry, I'm still getting set up here. So a lot of times questions will be asked that will try to get a certain response. And it wasn't that Jerry Jones just out of the blue just started saying, you know, that Tony Romo, he's not a bus driver and all that. It was, he was asked questions. And so the more he kept talking about it, the more they were able to twist it around a little bit more. And see, I don't think it originally was ever about Dak. It was about making Tony Romo feel good. Now, it's kind of amazing to me that a team that is 11-4 is, 11-2 is talking about quarterback changes, because I look around and there's a lot of bad quarterback play throughout the NFL, but nobody else is talking about making a change. I mean, the bar is set so high for Dak Prescott that any bad game that you're ready to pull him, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? Now, I know he didn't play that great, but when you look at the whole team last week, can you honestly say, other than Ezekiel Elliott having over 100 yards, that anybody on offense had a great game? You had Doug Free, you know, who's been having some problems lately of getting guys speed rushers on the outside. One of the strip sacks, Doug Free. One of the sacks, Doug Free. You look at Dez Bryant, and Dez Bryant, I'm going to probably get people pissed off at me, but I don't know that Dez Bryant is the elite receiver that he used to be. He has dropped a lot of balls over the last couple of years. I mean, all the way from Green Bay that could have been a game winner that might have gotten us into a Super Bowl. We had another one that was against the Giants the first game in the end zone. Had he caught it, that we probably would have won that one. And then for him to slip on the that route, that was one of the interceptions that Dak threw. Now, I'm not putting all the blame on Dez Bryant, because there were a lot of guys that weren't open. And after looking at some of the game film, I'm seeing a lot of guys that just weren't open. So it was just a bad night all the way around. And part of that may have been the field conditions. But, of course, the talking heads had exactly what they want. The Dallas Cowboys have a loss. So now we can talk about, oh, they're going downhill real fast. He's had a couple of bad games. Never mind that they've been playing elite defenses. So those are some of the things that have been kind of bothering me, of course. And I do this because it's fun for me. And one thing that people really know about me is I have a, excuse my language, I don't give a fuck what somebody else thinks attitude. Hence, Joe Boo. 50-year-old man going around the country taking pictures of a voodoo doll in different places. On the surface, it looks ridiculous. But I drive my wife crazy because, you know, I do construction work and stuff like that. I got no problem having a paint-colored, you know, covered shirt on or whatever, because in the end, the only person I have to make happy is myself. So if I make a comment or if I do something out there, I don't care what anybody else thinks. It's what makes me happy. Now, what drives me crazy is we're all Cowboy fans. Well, we do have a sighting of Scotty DeHottie, one of the Eagle fans. Welcome back. It's nice to see you again. Just wondering where you've been since week 4. But we're all Dallas Cowboy fans. But unfortunately, it seems like if you like Dak Prescott, then you're saying the hell with Tony Romo. And it seems if you like Tony Romo, then it's the hell with the guys that like Dak Prescott. And it's like we're crabs in a barrel. So I don't understand why it is that we all are looking for the Dallas Cowboys to win. Why does it have to be that you have to be on this side or that side? Because it's not a matter of me not liking Tony Romo. I got a dollar bill over there that's got Tony Romo's head on it and says, basically Tony Romo's money. I got a Jobu shirt up here that's autographed by Tony Romo. There it is over there. I've got a Tony Romo jersey. I've got Tony Romo stuff. So it hasn't been that I haven't supported Tony Romo. But unfortunately, football is one of those games that you don't get better when you get older. You just get older. And your best ability is your availability. And if a team can't count on you, it doesn't matter who you are. Because, see, I understand that Tony Romo is getting up there. And unfortunately, maybe his window has closed. That doesn't mean he can't still play. But being a franchise quarterback that you can depend on, I don't think that's there anymore. In the last 5 games he's played, 3 of them he's been knocked out for significant time. That's a fact. Now, it drives me crazy because people will not give you a rational argument. They'll just say, oh, you can't count 2015. He was injured. That's the point. He got injured not once, but twice in that season. And so what happened to all those guys that did all that work, got ready for that season, had an opportunity to win? Quarterback's gone. That year's gone. And in football, it doesn't care who you are. You can be Joe Montana and win 3 Super Bowls, and San Francisco can say, bye-bye. You can be Tony Dorsett and have to go to Denver to finish your career. Or Emmitt Smith, the leading rusher in the NFL, have to go to Arizona to finish your career. So what makes Tony Romo different from any of those other guys? It's the natural progression of the game, flat out. It's cold, it's harsh, but that's the game. When they're done with you in the NFL, they're done with you. And if we can find somebody younger, stronger, faster, cheaper, that's going to be the guy. And you can hold on, and that's part of the problem the Cowboys have had in the past. The Cowboys kept saying, we're so close. If we just had a piece here and a piece there of these older guys, we can get over the hump. But what you got was mediocrity. You got 8-8 over and over again, can't win the game to get you in the playoffs or to go anywhere. But when you start getting young, when you start building a team the right way, when you realize that high-priced guys don't necessarily make you win. For that same money you spend on that one guy, I can get 4 guys that are going to be hungry to get that guy's money, that are going to make a difference on your team. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are where they are now. They've been building through that draft. They've been getting younger, getting guys that are hungry, that want to do something, not fat cat free agents. And that's where it stands. So let me start looking at some of these questions. I've got some great news tonight, too. I'm not sure we're going to get into it because I'm not sure how much time I have. But we now have a Jobu phone number. So that way you guys will actually be able to call in, and I'll be able to talk to you guys on air and answer your questions and so on. See, I'm trying to constantly improve this and make this fun for everybody and include everybody. So let me get through some of these streamed in questions you guys had here. And of course, I'm old, so I've got to widen the screen some here. And of course, hello everybody. Jobu, of course, is right here. He's got his rum. I might steal some of it. Andy, I did send the jerseys. The stuff, actually, I just got them in the mail yesterday. This week has been crazy, busy. I have literally been driving all over the place. I think I've done about close to 2,000 miles of driving this week. We ended up doing a photo shoot, or excuse me, my wife, unfortunately enough, has ties with the NFL. So the NFL Films was filming a commercial with Stephen Smith in Baltimore. So I had to drive up to Baltimore, take pictures and stuff for United Way and things for that. And I think they're going to start airing some of those commercials this week. So if you see the Stephen A. Smith Character Education Playbook, I was there. And I've got some footage that after they start airing it, that I'll go ahead and share with you guys. Then my son had graduation, so I had to drive late on Wednesday night, and then my daughter came in and had spent plenty of time with her. So I didn't get those shirts and stuff out until Wednesday or Thursday. So give them a couple days; they should be there. I apologize for that, but life gets in the way. I would love to be able to just do this full time. Let's see. A hangover, yeah, of course. Angel, you got a shout out. I need a shirt for the game. I'm sorry, Andy. It'll be there hopefully maybe Monday or Tuesday. I think actually the Cowboys will re-sign Terrence Williams. He had the brain fart in the first game, but he has come along, and I think that they can sign him for a reasonable contract. I hate to say it, but I honestly have concerns about Des Bryant because he's getting a lot of nagging injuries, and he's got a lot of drops. So you don't know how much longer he's going to be able to really do that well with the price tag that he has. And please, don't kill me, guys, because I've gotten this week in talking about Dak Prescott, some of you guys out there have just been just nuts, okay? Because here's the thing. I've got my opinion. And like I told you, I don't care if you don't agree with it. That's fine. If you want to give me your side of the argument and whatever, that's fine too. But just to come in and say, you're an idiot, you don't know football, blah, 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 come on. There's no need for that. There's a million other Dallas Cowboy channels that you can watch. So if you don't like what I'm talking, please feel free to go elsewhere. If you want to stay, I appreciate the click. But I'm not going to change my opinion. My opinion is my opinion. When you talk about I hate Tony Romo, if that's your argument because I think that it may be time for him to retire, then you also would say that I hate Roger Staubach because at one point I said, you know what? Roger's going to get hurt out there. It's time for him to retire. He's not able to do what he was able to do years before. You'd also say I hate Troy Aikman because I said the same thing about him, as well as Michael Irvin when he broke his neck. So it's not a hate of anybody. I want the Cowboys to win. And if you don't agree with that, if you think I'm an idiot, go elsewhere. I'm feeling lucky too. I'm hoping the Cowboys rebound because I'm tired of all the talking heads with the doom and gloom of a team that's 11-2. Yeah, we both know Jerry is a front man. Let's see. I am great today, Nina. Well, the great thing is, finally Jerry came out and realized I got to make a bold statement and say that, Dak is my quarterback. There's no disputing or anything like that. Hopefully that'll kind of end it for a moment. But, the moment he throws one bad pass on Sunday, it's going to be, Dak Prescott is, needs to be replaced. And it's amazing how everybody just jumps on that. Now, speaking of defense, how about Sean Lee? I don't know how many people realize this or not, but they went back through the game film and they reevaluated the tackles and stuff. And it turns out Sean Lee was credited with 22 tackles, 17 of them being single tackles, unassisted, 5 assists, which is it's just unbelievable because he actually held the record with Leroy Jordan with 21 tackles before that. So he now holds the record for most tackles in a game. At 22. And the run that he has made, literally in the last 3 games, he's had 56 tackles, which if you just count those 3 games, I believe puts him 5th or 6th on the team for tackles. And that's pretty incredible. Now, I'm going to say something here that a lot of people are going to say that you're nuts, especially if you're not a Dallas Cowboy fan. But when you think of like elite defenses, like the Ravens, what if I said that the Dallas Cowboys are right there with the Ravens? Yeah, they are. Because here's the thing. The talking heads will tell you the Dallas Cowboys defense is suspect. The only way that defense does anything is by the offense having so much time of possession. Okay. All right, that's your argument. Well, they're 15th in yards. So they give up a lot of yards. And what you have to understand about this defense is because there's not elite pass rushers, Rod Martinelli decides we're not going to risk blitzing a lot, because if we blitz a lot, we're opening ourselves up to a lot of big plays. He figures that the strength of his team is actually his defensive backs, and he wants to have as many as possible out there to cover receivers. He would rather give up shorter pass plays, kind of like a prevent defense, and hope that you make a mistake or can't convert a third down, which is why that defense gives up so much yards. But you notice very rarely do they give up the big, deep pass. Now, Odell Beckham ended up having a catch that he turned into a big play. That was just bad tackling and poor pursuit angles. But they don't normally give up the big 60-yard pass play downfield, because that's the way that defense is designed. It's bend but don't break. Whereas if they blitzed a lot, you're opening yourself up to a lot of those big plays. So they're going to give up a lot of yards. But here's the key on that. They're 5th in the league in points allowed. And you can throw out every other stat out there. The bottom line is, did the other team score? And for the team, for the year, it's 18.3 points a game they've been giving up, which is 5th. But if you look at the last 3 games, it's down to 17. So they're trending better and better. But what's interesting about this is that kills their argument is, over the last 3 games, we haven't been winning the time of possession. In fact, over the last 3 games, our time of possession is 27.5. Other teams have been having the ball for longer than the Cowboys, yet the defense is giving up less points. Kind of contradictory to the numbers you're always told, isn't it? Which is one of the things I always like to do is watch Stephen A. Smith and ESPN and NFL Network and grab those tidbits of things that they try and sell you and tell you as fact, which really isn't. So that's where I always try and bring you guys to speed on that. So our defense is playing a lot better, and I think they're going to continue to get better. And if we can ever get Morris Claiborne back on the defense before playoffs, I think that all of a sudden you're going to see the Cowboys do kind of like what the Colts did. The Colts couldn't stop anybody until they had that Super Bowl run. All of a sudden they became lights out in the playoffs. Well, Eric, losing could be good. In some cases it gets you to refocus, which is a great point. A few weeks ago, Michael Irvin was saying that he hoped the Cowboys lost on Thanksgiving, because it does kind of make you realize that we have to do more than just show up. We've got to stay focused. We got to play hard, or else we'll get beat. And that's the thing in football. Anybody can beat you, and you have to realize that I have to be 100% ready to go every single game. Sandman, come on. You're going to ask me that one? That's a really easy one. Dallas Cowboy Hall of Famer with the most Super Bowl rings? That's pretty easy. My college teammate, Charles Haley, with 5. That's right, 5 rings, 1 for every finger. Well, here's the thing on the third downs. Okay. A lot of those third downs, we had so many penalties. We had so many third down and longs. And when you start looking at the receivers, guys weren't open. So you can't put that all on Dak Prescott. Take a look on the other side of the field at Eli Manning and how pathetic his game was. I think that was just a bad night all the way around. I mean, the Giants, Eli had 3 turnovers and it should have been 7. And they weren't exactly lighting up the scoreboard. It was just an ugly defensive battle game in cold, bad weather that had snowed before the game. And you're going to have games that are like that from time to time. Tony Romo had games that were a brain fart as well. You can look at 2014, his best season as a NFL professional. That first game against the 49ers had 3 turnovers. So you're going to have bad games. Nobody is perfect all the time. There's only been one perfect team ever, and that's the Miami Dolphins, and they had a cake schedule that year. Is Dez overrated? I hate to say it, but I think Dez at this point is. I said something. I used to, when I had more time, and this is what's great about doing this, is I don't have to write and edit and get my wife to it, because I can't spell worth a lick. I got great thoughts and great imagination and stuff, but putting things on paper is difficult. So I ended up having to get help with her. One thing I realized in looking at the numbers is that, generally speaking, your elite receivers, when they get that big contract, kind of go off a cliff. When you look at Megatron, after he got his $125 million contract, his numbers steadily went down. He got injured more. Same thing with Larry Fitzgerald. And Des Bryant is kind of in that same category right now. He just can't seem to get healthy. Every week he's got some kind of nagging injury, so he's not able to practice the way he should be able to. And he does drop a whole lot of balls. So, you start looking at that money that you're paying for. Between him and Romo, you're talking about over $40 million on the cap. And that's where dollars and cents come in. I love DeMarcus Ware. I hate to see him go get to Denver, but when you looked at the cap hit we were going to take for him, you looked at the nagging injuries, unfortunately, you can't hold on to guys for too long. That's what's made the New England Patriots a great team. They realize when they start becoming a problem, when they start breaking down, when they start getting older, let them go someplace else and bring in somebody young. My favorite Cowboy offensive lineman of all time, Larry Allen. He was a beast. I mean, he was just literally just picked up guys and threw them all over the field. What's the phone number? Oh, man, I'm not sure I want to start that tonight because I got to get out of here early. Hey, Cowboy Nation, Nick. Larry Allen, without a doubt. If the Cowboys and Giants meet in the playoffs, who will win? The team that scores the most points. I can guarantee you that one. It's difficult to beat a team 3 times in a season. And if you'll remember when the Giants went through and when we were, I think, the number 2 seed playing at home, the Giants barely got into the playoffs. They got hot. We had beat them twice in the season, and boom, all of a sudden we beat them. Excuse me, they beat us. Oh, no, you don't want D-Jax. D-Jax is always broken down, and he's more of a headache than anything else. Forget it. What's the trade value for Romo? The trade value for Romo depends. The team's talking about possibly playing him and getting some reps and things. If he happens to go out and gets hurt, there's no trade value for him. Your best trade value is the unknown. If you don't play him and nobody's for sure how well he's going to be, that's where you're actually going to get the most. If you put him out there and he looks poorly, then it starts going down. Or if you risk him getting hurt, then you've got no trade value. And as much as, here's the thing, as far as that goes, you're my starter until you're not my starter. And generally speaking, if you go into a really bad slump, then you need to be replaced. And if it ends up being, 3 or 4 games and things, and all of a sudden you see him regress and it's not the team, it's just him, then you make a change. But for a guy that's got a team 11-4, because remember, guys, we still had the same offensive line last year. We had Darren McFadden, who was the 4th leading rusher in the NFL. And had he had any kind of a passing game, probably would have been even better. And remember, he didn't start until the 4th game of the season. So you had a good running game. You had a defense that's playing comparable. They were ranked 16th in the NFL last year, about the same number of turnovers. Yet this year, we're 11-2. Last year, we were 4-12. So clearly, Dak has had something to do with that. Because you can take Ezekiel Elliott's numbers, and they're not that much better than what Darren McFadden was, but yet we were still 4-12. So I still believe the guy that got you that far, you stick with. Unless you realize, you know what, he's playing like Carson Wentz. Then you get him out. Bill Bates or Kenny the Shark? Oh, Bill Bates. Bill Bates he was the special teams man. Kenny the Shark, he had his shark dance and all that, but he didn't have the longevity of Bill Bates. And Bill Bates was a guy that truly motivated the team. We'll get to the draft. I don't start thinking about the draft during the regular season because we have so much to talk about. We'll worry about the draft after the Super Bowl. I would love to have J.J. Watt, but J.J. Watt's another one of those guys that's kind of breaking down. A person I would have loved to have had on our defensive line would have been Calais Campbell when he almost became a free agent a couple of years ago. And that's what we need on the defensive line. We need a 800-pound gorilla that's, snotting out his nose that makes quarterbacks piss their pants. If we could get that, this team would be unstoppable. So the great thing is for the most part, we have our offense set. We focus the draft now on the defense, and we can start spending some money on that defense. Bill Bates. I'm not sure. Morris Claiborne has played great when he's played, but unfortunately, his injury history has just been terrible. For whatever reason, some guys just have bad luck and just stay injured. And Morris Claiborne is one of those ones that, shit just keeps happening. And when you start having bones ripped off your groin, that's pretty bad. Sean Lee definitely would be a throwback player, as far as he could have played in that doomsday defense. Hey, Jesse Clark. Yeah, I hate that we lost Jackson too, but unfortunately, can't keep everybody. And I think the thought is if Zeke Elliott has hit a wall or does hit a wall, that we can get a boost from having fresh legs of Darren McFadden in there more so than Alfred Morris. And I hate to say this, but the NFL seems to be dragging their feet with the whole Ezekiel Elliott investigation. I don't think there's anything there from the 911 calls that I listened to, from her having these different cases over and over again and all that. But you never know. And if the NFL were to come back and say, aha, we're going to suspend you now and you're going to suspend him for the next 4 games or 6 games or whatever, and all of a sudden he's out of the playoffs, at least you got McFadden right there too. So it's just kind of like an extra poker chip just in case you go bankrupt. Do I know Law Thomas? I don't know him personally. I know him from talking on, watching his channel here on YouTube and from him commenting and stuff on here. Nice guy. Love his show. What do I want for Christmas? Only thing I want for Christmas is a Super Bowl. I want to see the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Oh, Darren Woodson definitely was a hard hitter. And, oh, man. Bill Bates was hell on special teams. Bill Bates was actually the first special teams Pro Bowler. They actually made that position because of Bill Bates. They used to call it Billy Ball, and I remember because I used to get the Dallas Cowboy weekly newspaper that would come to my house and stuff, and I remember that covered like it was yesterday. I think we'll re-sign Terrence Williams, but you never know. Pat Summerall and John Madden were fantastic, and that's one of the things that I miss. Growing up, some of the old telecasts and all that, although the TV pictures were terrible in comparison to high def, but the games were called so much better. Some of these announcers out there are just pathetic. I mean, you just kind of like, Roy Williams. Yeah, Roy Williams was a hard hitter, but his career didn't last that long. And I got to tell you, Roy Williams was a bud. We had a photo shoot for United Way with him. He showed up 2 hours late and goes, I got a massage in 15 minutes. He's supposed to give us 2 hours for a commercial and flaked out on us. And it was right after that his career seemed like it ended. I'm not saying that was because he did that, but karma is a motherfucker. Yeah, you're right. He couldn't cover though. Some of these other questions in here. Oh yeah, if we could find a Khalil Mack, Isaac, that would be unbelievable because that's what we need. If we had just one great pass rusher, it would help the rest of the guys out there so much. Sue, I wouldn't want Sue on the team. He's more of a distraction. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's more of a distraction. And that's the good thing about this team right now is you've got guys that are good guys, that are decent guys, that are getting together on and off the field. And you don't have to have that, but it's so much nicer to get to know that guy because you start to know his tendencies. You can give a guy a little look, and he knows exactly what you're thinking, that, maybe I'm going to be doing something that's not called. I see something, and I'm kind of letting you know. And that's the thing about what happened with our defense, because a lot of people said, you need to sign a bunch of free agent corners. But because these guys have played together, they kind of know the system, they know each other, and they know how to help out each other. And that's one of those things that they don't talk about a whole lot. But that's one of those things where that consistency of the coaching staff and the players has helped this team mature and get better. JPP or Sheldon Richardson, yeah, both of them are going to be free agents. JPP is not going to be cheap. And I haven't been one of those big, high-priced free agent guys because a lot of times, usually within about 2 years, they're off your team, and they end up wrecking your salary cap. Guys like Cliff Averill, who have been kind of that mid-tier free agent, are the guys that do a lot better. And we've actually been pretty good at getting some of these bottom guys that have been journeymen. And Rod Martinelli has a way of getting the most out of them. I mean, to take a guy like George Selvey and turn him into 7 sacks in one season, it's just unbelievable. So, before we get going here too far, our trivia question tonight for our Jobu t-shirt, because I know how much you guys love the good old Jobu t-shirts, and I think I had like 7 of them that just went out on Wednesday. Hopefully you guys will get them soon. Hopefully Christmas doesn't slow it down too much. But our trivia question for tonight, we're going way, way, way back. What was the Dallas Cowboys' first sellout? What was the date and who was the team? Let me say again. When was the Dallas Cowboys' first sellout games? As in stands full of everybody. What year was it? What was the date? And what was the team? Jesse Clark, I actually have to disagree with you on the Terrence Williams. I think Terrence Williams is a good number 2, but time will tell. Anybody knows conversation around our wide receivers wonder why? Chris White. Oh, Chris White. Chris, are you the guy who said that I do not debate? I wasn't avoiding you. Quite frankly, I end up getting a lot of comments, and it's hard to keep up because if I don't check them like every half an hour or so, they usually kind of scroll on past, and then it's just too many of them to go through. I try to answer as many as possible, but you guys have just been. Let me check out the question. Let's see. 1996. Come on, man. You're telling me you think the first Dallas Cowboys sellout was 1996? Come on, we can do better than that. December 4th, 1971, Denver. Come on. Versus Green Bay Eagle. Don't tell me I've stumped you guys. Super Bowl 5, their first sellout. Come on, man. My favorite Dallas Cowboy coordinator of all time, Tom Landry. Tom Landry was offensive and defensive coordinator. You'll never see that again. Are the Cowboys built for another dynasty? Yes, I believe that they are, because when you look at that offensive line with everybody 25 and under, when you look at if Dak is the real deal, having a franchise quarterback at that age playing at the level he's playing, with them being in better cap shape, yes, this is definitely a young team that could become a dynasty. 1975 Detroit, nope. 62 Cardinals, nope. Redskins, nope. Boy, you guys really don't have a clue. I finally found one you just can't Google. Great. Okay. Scorch, 1970, nope. I'll say it was the year I was born. How's that, if that helps? Because you guys know I'm old. Okay. I wouldn't mind bringing DeMarcus Ware back for a one-day contract so he can retire as a Dallas Cowboy. At this point, he can't stay on the field. His price tag would be way too high, and I think he's pretty much done. The first game was not a sellout. 1988. Well, thank you, Bobby. I said it was the year I was born, but I'm not quite that young. I was actually graduating college then. Green Bay Packers, no. 1912. Cowboy Chris, are you really a football fan? 1912. The Dallas Cowboys became a franchise in 1960. What the fuck kind of question was that? Hey, the other ones were too easy. You got what? This is for Joe Boo. Come on, can't make it too easy. Ryan, you got the right year, not the right game though. Okay, so 1965, the year I was born. Okay, Steelers, nope. So now everybody's Googling the 1965 season. Okay. Wow, I can't believe that you got that stumped that one. Okay. I thought that one was going to be an easy one to find. You got it. No. August 21st. You know football games in August. I mean, it was a regular season games now. Somebody was really, really close. Eagles, Cardinals, Redskins. Damn. Texans, no. Kansas City, no. Kansas City, no. Come on, there were only 12 games that season. Wow. Wow, I can't believe this. All right, this is going to be the last minute for this question. Somebody's got to get this. I thought you guys were real Dallas Cowboy fans. Oilers, no. Green Bay, no. 49ers, no. Livingston, you got it. 1965, November 21st, Cleveland Browns. You finally went through the whole schedule, I guess. Email me. I'm going to type in my email address. Email me, Kevin Livingston, and email me your address and your size. It's Mark Winbor at AOL. Yes, I'm that old. Email me your information so I can get that shirt out for you. Congratulations. And where's my notepad? Damn. Okay, we're going to have to go old school here. We're going to go ahead and just take a picture of your name on there. Congratulations on that. You guys, thank you for trying and supporting on that. So, how do you guys feel about the game on Sunday night? You feel like the Cowboys have it? You know, I've got Redskin fans that are coming at me right now saying, you Cowboys have got to win. You got to do it. Help a brother out. And I just want to know, you Redskin fans, how does it feel knowing that the Dallas Cowboys are helping you? That you've literally got to come to the Cowboys to try and make the playoffs. Wow. Do you feel dirty? Do you? No. I was talking about the AOL account. Okay, AOL. I've had that thing for 20 years, if not longer than that. The email address. So, but I've kept it for so long because that's all my old contacts and stuff from woodworking and things. Well, the Cowboys are always disrespected by the talking heads. Go hard, because people realize they're a $4 billion franchise. They have more fans than anybody else. And if you cut down on the Cowboys or talk about them, people are going to click. This week has probably been a bonanza for all the talking heads, because if you look at it, everything is a comment about Dak should be starting, Tony should be starting, and everybody is getting paid from it. That's what the bottom line is. It's not about being right anymore. It's not about having the facts. It's about getting people to just click. And we end up falling into the trap because we, of course, want to hear the latest and everything else about our team. So, what can I say? Question. I don't have another one right now. Actually, I do, but I'm going to say that one because that's another one of those ones that'll be a hard question. And I'm going to run out of shirts before too long here, too. Sandman, you got to start thinking about Jerry Jones as getting a little bit out there. And I shouldn't say that because I hope to meet him at some point. But you say too much, sooner or later it gets back to people. But I think Jerry is getting a little bit senile in there. When you start hearing some of the things that he says, and you kind of scratch your head and say, Jerry, you say what? So that's where I keep telling people, stop getting bent out of shape what Jerry Jones says. Because Jerry Jones says a lot of things, and a lot of times they're a little crazy. So, take it with a grain of salt. If Stephen Jones says it, then you should really listen up to what he has to say. I hope Dallas is mad. I hope they play with some anger, because if they play their game, they can beat anybody. But if they don't, they just show up, you can get your ass kicked. Stephen Jones, without a doubt, runs the organization. Yeah, let's get some glory holes versus Tampa. Well, actually, if you ever go to Tampa, that's one place you can definitely get some glory holes, because we went to the Super Bowl down there. It was the craziest thing, because literally every corner there was a freaking strip joint. And they got some crazy ones. There was one that was basically shaped like a UFO. It was a strip club. I mean, who does that? What type of package is possible for Romo? I think you could probably get a second or third round draft pick for him. Because of his age. I mean, you can look at what the Eagles ended up getting for Bradford, but they were looking at, this is Super Bowl or bust, and Bradford's a lot younger than Tony Romo is. We should definitely be able to run on. But, don't sleep on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been playing really well. And over the last 3 games, they've only given up 12.3 yards per game against, I want to say, Seattle, San Diego, and who did they play last week? New Orleans. So, their defense is giving up 22.8 points a game on average. The last 3 weeks have been really, really good. So don't sleep on them. You got to show up. You got to play well. So we need the Dallas Cowboy fans to really just go off and really be a factor for the team. Home field advantage. I did see the commercial, and it's a pretty cool commercial for Dak Prescott, his Adidas commercial. I pray that they win, because if they don't win, they're going to say, yeah, Dak Prescott's more focused on having commercials. He's RG3, and it's like, no, it's not like that. Quite frankly, with as little as Dak Prescott is getting paid versus other quarterbacks in the NFL being a 4th-round draft pick, he needs to do some commercials, because that money he's making is peanuts in comparison to the NFL. I know you and me, that's a lot of money, but that's chicken feed. And that's where the Cowboys have the big advantage by him being as good as he is. You're not paying a quarterback $20 million a year. That's money you can put towards getting other players to go around him. I think Darren McFadden could definitely be a big bonus if he's the player he was. But the problem is he hasn't had any work as far as in pads and hitting and everything else. So it takes time to get back into football shape. Well, here's the thing, Cowboy Chris, I'm not saying he's turned down him, but you'll have people that'll say that, oh, he's not focused. He should be home studying the playbook. Just like when we had 10 days between games before the Giant game, they were seen on their day off after having the going to the hospital for Children's Hospital, after having the team Christmas party. Dak and Zeke were out at a club, and of course everybody said his ass should be home studying the playbook. Okay, all right. So when you see him on a commercial, people are going to say, oh, he was out there doing a commercial and everything else instead of focusing on football. And people don't get it. I mean, you're going to have people that are going to hate you no matter what you do. So the best thing to do is don't worry about them. Like I said, I don't care what anybody else thinks, because if I had $1 for every time somebody told me I was stupid, I don't have a clue as to what I'm saying, I could probably quit my day job. And that's exactly what I try to tell people, is that Dak Prescott is just like Russell Wilson as far as that goes. That's part of the reason why the Seattle Seahawks have been able to stay good as long as they were, because the first 4 years they weren't paying Russell Wilson jack. Is McFadden back? Yes, he is now on the active roster. Will he play? I can't tell you that one just yet. Well, will he? A lot of people say, oh, nobody's ever won a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback. Well, nobody won a Super Bowl with a black quarterback until Doug Williams did. So does that mean that you should never try because it hasn't happened? Because something doesn't happen until it happens. And in most cases, when rookie quarterbacks are forced to play, it's because they're on a bad team. Cleveland Browns is drafting somebody #1 as a quarterback because they never have a quarterback. Dak Prescott was fortunate enough to be in the situation that he was in because with Kelvin Moore going out and Tony Romo taking days off during preseason, he was able to get first-team repetitions, which generally doesn't happen to a guy who is coming off of the bench to start your team. So that benefited him, as well as having a veteran team, having a great offensive line, having veteran receivers and things like that. Having a Jason Witten makes you a lot better quarterback than if you're in Cleveland with nobody, with no offensive line. So when you say that no rookie quarterback has, well, that's true. But when you look at the team that's right there, you look at the fourth-place schedule that they have, you have those things that are factors that will make it a lot easier for him in the position he's in versus other rookies. Is really? You're asking that? Okay. If you're asking if he's black, you asking if I'm black too? Okay, just check it. My opinion on Thursday night. Here's what the problem with Thursday night football is: you're breaking up the routine for the players. They don't need to get rid of Thursday night football, but what they need to do is this. And I don't understand why the NFL hasn't even thought of this solution. The NFL wants to have more games on TV, so that way they can make more money, which is a great theory. But the problem is guys can't play that much. It's just too much toll, wear and tear on your body. And when you're playing from Sunday to Thursday, these guys aren't healed and they're not getting game plan in. The solution is add an extra bye week. That way you've got an extra week of revenue, because whether your team's playing or not, you're still going to watch football if it's on Sunday. That's a fact. But what you do is teams that are going to play on Thursday night have a bye week before they play on Thursday night. That way they get the rest, they get a chance to game plan, and I guarantee you'll have a better game. And by doing so, it actually makes it more feasible to put a team in England, because if you're playing against a team in England, you have a bye week before you go over there. So that way you can go there the week of, get used to the time zone and everything else, play your game, go back home. And that way the NFL can get a win, because they can say, look, we care about the players. We're concerned about them having to play on not having enough rest. So they're going to get an extra week in between games and give us a better product. How did we get talking about Bernie Mac? Because I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm going to have to scroll back and find that. Kit Kat, he is black. Half and half, okay. Randy Gregory, come back, unleash the beast in Dallas. Well, it'd be great if he were a beast, but so far, Randy Gregory has not been a beast. He'll be eligible to practice starting next week, and it'll be interesting to see if he's got everything that we think he does. I don't think he's going to make that big a difference with him being out basically for a year. You know, a lot of people, Martin, have been telling me that I need to call in Stephen A. Smith and try and debate and have a good debate. I don't have satellite radio, so I've never heard his show live, but I need to do that. In fact, my son was saying, Dad, you need to call in and talk to you. I need to try and do that sometime. If I ever get caught up in work and stuff, I'm going to start doing some stuff that. Daff is half African American, Native American. Well, his mother was white. I mean, you know, to be honest with you, we're all mixed with something. I'll admit it, I'm a straight up mutt. I'm black, I'm American Indian, I got some Irish in me, and who knows what else, you know. But that's the great thing about this country is it shouldn't matter if you're black, white, Indian, whatever. We're all people, and we're all Dallas Cowboy fans. And football is the great equalizer. So I try not to judge people by color. I try and judge people by what's in their heart. I'll sit down and have a conversation with anybody, and in fact, I've taken Joe Boo places that I probably shouldn't have. I went to a country and western redneck bar, and when I walked in, the looks that I got when I first walked in there was like, what the hell is this blank to blank doing up in here? And I immediately set Joe Boo down in the middle of the floor and started taking pictures, and all of a sudden people started laughing. And by the end of the night, Joe Boo's up on stage with the band, Confederate flag hanging up right above him and everything else, and people are buying the drinks. So it's not a matter of being afraid of one race or another. It's actually a matter of getting to know somebody. And that's the thing that's been great about Joe Boo is no matter who you are, I don't care if you're young or old, black, white, Asian, whatever, you see a guy putting this down here, taking pictures, you're going to want to know what is the deal with that. And it's a great way to break the ice and get people off guard. And that's why I've got Joe Boo. And it's been hilarious. It's been wonderful. It's taken me places that I never thought. It's got me here with you guys. And regardless of how you got here, you probably saw that and said, what the hell is the deal with the freaking voodoo doll? Well, it's kind of a great story to me, at least. Yeah, you know, Jason Garrett's not going to say that that Randy Gregory's done a terrible job. He's in terrible shape. But I got to tell you that there's a difference between riding a bike, running sprints and all that, and playing football. There is football shape, and I'm telling you, there's a big difference between the two. You can't just take a sprinter and put him out there and think he's going to be able to play football. But that's my opinion, and again, that's my opinion. Who do I think the opponent will be? Well, you know, it's like a flavor of the week because, you know, for a while there, the Raiders looked really good, and all of a sudden they didn't against Kansas City. I wouldn't bet against New England because New England has a way of always making it there, especially in seasons that they get dissed, and they've been dissed this year. Very well said. Carolina Max. I don't know what I said that was very well said, but I'm glad you liked it. You think you see a squirrel. Okay. I hope it's not about to climb on me. Um, Zeke is good, but he's also benefiting from that line because you've had a lot of really good running backs out there that haven't had a good line that have just gotten beat up. Gurley is one of them. That offense helps everybody because you have good wide receivers and Dak can move and all that. That means it's another person to cover. And when you have so many different weapons to cover, it's hard to get every single one of them. So would Zeke be as good as, say, if he was in with the Rams? No, he wouldn't be. He's definitely benefiting from the people around him. Welcome, Chris. Thanks for joining in. Thank you for loving the channel. I'm still really new with social media stuff. My daughter, she's AK Doll. She does fashion blogging and everything else, fashion guru, and has been doing this stuff for probably 8 years or so. She's kind of helped me along to kind of do some of this stuff. So I do a whole lot with my hands and things. I'm not doing the Donald Trump, this, that, and the other, but I do a lot of talking with my hands. But she's helping me, give me some ideas and things like that. And I'm constantly trying to improve this to become your go-to spot to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why if I do a live show tomorrow, we'll actually start doing the phone-in calls because I think that'll actually be really good. I just haven't tried it yet, so I'm not sure how well it's going to work, and I don't want to half-ass do anything for you guys. I think Dak will definitely get on track this weekend. 3 or 4 TDs, I would love to have that, but I'll just settle for a good, solid win. Like Nick Saban. Okay, so I talk about hands like Nick Saban. Okay, that's interesting. The Cowboys defense, like I said, we need an 800-pound gorilla, and we definitely need to get well, my daughter's actually at her mother's house. Me and her mother divorced a long time ago, so we, of course, have to split each other. But she'll be back in a few days, so I'll see if I can get her on the show, but I don't know that she will be or not. I wouldn't want to mess up her brand, being seen with a voodoo doll. DeMarcus Lawrence, nagging back injury, so he won't be playing, which could be definitely hurt on the defensive side. And it's going to be interesting with Mike Evans. We've got another elite receiver that we're playing against, and Brendan Carr will be on him most of the night, I'm sure. So if we can shut him down, I think we got a great chance of winning. Am I ready for the game? I'm definitely going to be ready for the game. I've got to figure out what I'm going to cook this week. We did ribs last week, and that didn't work out too good, so we're not going to do ribs. I'm thinking about doing smoking a brisket. That would be cool. If you want to obtain a Jobu t-shirt, one, you can come in here when we do live shows and we'll end up doing a trivia contest. The other way you can is if you go to jobumancave.com, you can order one. I have it for $16 a piece. And I'll put the link up here. Let's see, www.jobumancave.com, and you can order one. They're $16 a piece, and what I do is whatever money I make with it, I put it back into to the show. Like I said, I'm trying to upgrade, and I'm trying to make this more interactive. I think the look now with the new webcam is definitely better, although I don't look any better. I'm old and wrinkly and fat. So high def isn't for everybody, but I'm working on getting some other lights so that way we get some better uplighting. And they say that better lighting helps you look better, but we'll see. And doing some other things. And I'm definitely trying to gear up for the Super Bowl and praying, please, God, please, football gods, get the Cowboys there. Because I'll be at the Super Bowl and I'll be doing all kinds of videos there from, all the setups from ESPN and things. I'll try and get on First Take. I've been on that show twice before and try and see if I can get Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to definitely call him out. And that's one of the reasons why some people have been questioning. It's like, why are you doing these Stephen A. Smith videos? You're getting dressed up. You're doing all that. You sound like you're a little obsessed or a little crazy. Well, no, there's a method behind the madness because you put it out there enough, you tweet it to First Take and things like that. You get to the point where you may not get a response, but you'll get it passed around. And sooner or later, he's going to see that. And then you show up, and it's like, oh, there's that guy. It may be there's that guy, you get a conversation, or maybe there's that guy, where's security. But either way, you end up getting a response. Do I watch Shango? Yeah, I've watched Shango a little bit. Yeah, he's really good. He's got a lot of subscribers and things like that. What's interesting with Shango, I noticed, any of you guys that have been watching me for a couple of months and stuff, I used to have basically a chair in front of my flat screen TV and things, and that's where my setup was. And then I got this microphone over here, which gave me a better sound quality. And then I went through and I built my Dallas Cowboy locker here, with Joe Boo's room, of course. Got to have a backup and stuff up here and some of this other memorabilia. And so I've been constantly working on it. And I noticed that Shango now, he's got a new microphone. He's kind of changed his game room and stuff around. It's kind of like, is he taking tips from me? Because he never responded on anything. So I'm just kind of wondering, it's like, is he watching, trying to get a little insight from me or whatever? Because this has been actually fantastic, the growth in you guys joining in, and that's why I started trying to do live streaming, because this way I can actually read what you guys are thinking in real time and can communicate with you. And I think when we start doing the call-ins and I can get that together, that I think that'll be a lot of fun and stuff. Who has a bigger forehead, Peyton Manning, Stephen A. Smith, or Stephen Jones? Man, they all got big foreheads, man. You could put like sell ad space up on there. But Peyton Manning's got the big forehead and the long giraffe neck. Well, Julie, I put my email up on there. You send me an email and stuff. I've got a guy, Caesar, who does my shirts and stuff for me and things like that. But, I can always use some help because I am definitely technology challenged. I actually need to do some work on my website as well. And I'm also learning how to start doing some other things like, oh, God, what do you call it? Damn. Okay, brain fart. But doing some other things with the show and stuff that'll be more interactive and more fun for you guys. Well, I don't know that we need to be in about 35 points or not. Yeah, 4,366 subscribers now. Yeah, I can't wait to push through to 5,000. I would love by the Super Bowl if we could get to like 6,000. That's my goal, which would be cool. Oh, Heath Evans. Heath Evans is a tool, man. Sam, man, I couldn't believe that because I did a video of that earlier today. Because before, I was on the Dak bus and all that and everything else. Oh, I'm off of it. Tony Romo needs to go. You know what? Here's what Heath Evans just did. He got you and he got me to respond to it because he said something negative about it. And again, most of those guys hate the Dallas Cowboys anyway, so I was surprised he was on the Dak bus to begin with. My thoughts on Will Cain, I got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Will Cain's because Will Cain, to me, it's not that he was a political pundit for Glenn Beck. It's the fact that he was a political pundit and now is supposed to be a football expert. You don't go from in a year from being a political pundit to being an expert in football, but it seems to me he has the same tactics as you would as a political pundit, because the whole time with Tony Romo is he's been trying to like throw gasoline on the fire. Even when Dak was playing really, really well. Oh, but the Cowboys would be so much better with Tony Romo in there because you've got an all-pro quarterback, yada, yada, yada. Okay, all right, here we go. So to me, the whole First Take, and I enjoy First Take, like I've told you guys. It's not football. It's like professional wrestling. And you wrestling fans out there, don't kill me. But it's not real. It's just made-up drama out there. Your whole family enjoys watching the show, Nick? Thank you, man. Wow. Yeah. The sad thing about football season is we're winding down. And that's going to be the sad part. I mean, we'll have the off-season work, we'll have free agency and the draft. And I think I'm going to go ahead and go up to Philadelphia, which will be scary because that's where the draft will be this year. And wearing Cowboy gear in Philly. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Cowboys winning by how much? I'm going to say 31-17 Dallas Cowboys win. Tomorrow night I'll have a video of how the Dallas Cowboys beat Tampa Bay. And it's funny because that game seems like it's been an afterthought because of all the talk with about Dak Prescott versus Tony Romo. But guys, can you believe that an hour has already gone by? And I need to go spend some time with my wife, or she might not be my wife for too much longer, if you know what I mean. So it's been great talking to you. It's been fantastic. I love all the comments. I love that you guys enjoy the show. I'm going to keep trying to get better and better each week. And hopefully the Dallas Cowboys will get another win and we can shut up the haters. I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, have a great night. Now, if I can figure out how to get back to getting this thing off, then we'll be great. Don't forget to email me your information so I can go ahead and get your shirt out to you. I'll get that in the mail, try to tomorrow. And anybody else that wants to order a shirt, it's joboomancave.com, and I'll leave the link on the next video. So, as always, it takes me forever to get in here to end this thing. As always, have a great night and be safe out there.